We will not have a transcript today. Any other questions about today? We are recording it, and it will be archived and up to on YouTube later. What's that? Good question.
Here's one more mic check for everybody in the back. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tippy Consensus All-Americans Room. Hanson Football Performance Center, University of Iowa. Everybody hearing it back there? All good? Thumbs up. You got your white balance? All right.
Does anyone not get one? Good.
Okay, I just want to start by saying I appreciate everybody being here today and talk a little bit about the end of fall camp, but obviously there's something, I want to take a few moments, an important situation to discuss with you. So earlier this year, I became aware of a potential NCAA recruiting violation in our program, and the issue involved a communication with the player and his family prior to them entering the portal or the player entering the portal. We spent the past several months cooperating with the NCAA and, reviewed the matter, and based on those discussions, the communication has been determined to be a potential level 2 NCAA violation. So therefore, I've made the decision in conjunction with the athletic director to recommend a self-imposed 1-game suspension and also including a loss of 1 week off-campus recruiting. I will not be coaching in the season opening game next week against Illinois State, nor will Jon Budmayr, receiver coach Jon Budmayr, so we'll both serve that suspension. I shared this information with our staff and players this morning, and the families of our players this afternoon. I think it's important that I be here today to visit with you. That was the plan, and also wanted the fans to hear this from me as well. And just want to preface comments by saying because this process is ongoing, there's very little I can give in terms of detail, and we'll do our best there, but not much we can say. But the bottom line is this, I tell our players, we abide by the rules, and in this specific case, I did not do that. I made a mistake during the recruiting process, and I want to apologize to our players, coaching staff, university leadership, and our incredible fans. 26 years as a head coach. This is the first potential level 2 violation that I've had, and it won't happen again. It's my plan to coach the team during the week, and as of midnight next Friday, I'll be removed for 24 hours, won't be in the stadium with them, and so that's the plan. Seth Wallace will be the acting head coach during the day next week, Saturday, and I'm confident he and the entire staff will do a great job on that. Again, there aren't many details that we can really share, unfortunately, until this matter is closed. But I did feel it was important to stand up in front of all of you and acknowledge when I had done something wrong. Basically you face the repercussions, and then we'll move forward with our season, and that's our plan at this point. So that being said, I just want to take this opportunity to ask Beth to say a few words.
Thanks, Coach. And as he mentioned, this is an open NCAA matter, and so the requirements there that we really aren't permitted to share a lot of detail. As was noted, we collaboratively made the decision to self-impose this 1-game suspension as a result of this recruiting violation. While we're certainly disappointed to be in this position, I really appreciate the way that Coach has handled this process. As we all know, the integrity in which he's shown and operated this program over the past 26 years is well understood. And I personally have gotten to see his character as we've worked together over the past year or so. In this situation, as he noted, he used poor judgment. And while I require and ask all of our staff and coaches to ensure that they're operating in a way that we're doing things the right way, we all make mistakes. Right, and a part of that is that we handle it in a way that is going to be appropriate for how we represent the University of Iowa. Good leaders take ownership. They are accountable, they learn from their mistake, and they move forward. I appreciate and am grateful that Kirk, in this scenario and in a difficult situation, is modeling that for all of us that oftentimes make mistakes as we lead our teams. I'm looking forward to what I know is going to be an exciting season. I have complete confidence in Coach Ferentz, complete confidence in his staff, and certainly in his student athletes. Looking forward to cheering the team on in the home opener and throughout the remainder of the season.
Okay, at this time, if you have a question for Coach or Beth, raise your hand. The microphone will be brought over to you. Please identify yourself and direct your question to either Beth or we'll start with Scott Docterman.
Hi, Scott Doctorman with The Athletic. This is actually for both Kirk and for Beth. My question is, how was the NCAA apprised of this matter? Was this something that you turned in? Was it something that they discovered? Or was there another school involved that actually turned you in?
Yeah, again, and I apologize, there's little we can say, but in this case, we were notified of the violation by the NCAA.
Thank you. Kirk, you used the term several months. Why did this come to a head, within the last 24 hours or whatever?
Sure. I mean, there's a process that's involved, and from the time the NCAA contacted us, we've cooperated fully with them. But there's a procedure, and it's not a fast-paced procedure. I'm not being judgmental. It just takes time. So as we move through it, again, I think we all shared information and talked and visited, and just seems like this is a smart approach to take based on the information we've learned and precedent's been set, those types of things. And our goal really is to control the timeline right now. The last thing I want this is to be something hanging over our heads for the next couple months. We just want to be proactive. Again, I acknowledge an error in judgment and take ownership for it and want to move forward.
Chad Lice, Code Des Moines Register for Kirk Ferentz. I guess just piecing together just this, I don't know if you want to call it bad luck or what between the gambling, the Caden Proctor situation and this. I mean, I guess how would you kind of summarize just sort of like these things happening to you guys where I think the general consensus is out there in the world, like there's a lot of the same stuff going on, yet Iowa's kind of in the headlines here.
Yeah, I'll say this. I think there's some unique circumstances surrounding this particular case, but the bottom line is it was impermissible contact. That's what the investigation's about, and the facts are the facts. And so there's a line, and I crossed that line. I made a bad error in judgment, and I'm just going to take ownership, and I'm not lumping it with anything else. This is something, and to me, this whole issue really is about a judgment or a decision that I made that's unfortunate, and we just want to address it, and then we want to move forward. Yep.
Adam Jacoby, Hawkeye Beacon. This question is for Kirk. We've heard some players mention that they had been approached by schools even before or when they didn't even enter the portal. Does that sort of dynamic that's already in place in college football,
Sure.
Does that sort of inform your, how you feel about this suspension?
I mean, yes and no. I can just say that, the world we all live in, in college football, a lot of things are cloudy and things have changed. It's a very changing environment, and it is continually changing. Yeah, but there's still a line, and it's no different than football. The goal line's a goal line, first down line's a first down line, and you either make a stop or you don't. It really, all the other stuff aside, it's really about a decision I made, and I regret that decision. And, so there are really no excuses, and that's my job. I'm the head coach. I take responsibility for that.
Keith Murphy, WHO. Coach, were you aware at the time specifically what the rule was?
Yeah, I don't want to get into too many details about an ongoing case, but like I said, I think there are some unique circumstances involved in this case, and I'm really not going to elaborate on that at this point. But as we stand here today, it really doesn't matter. I made a decision that, I think just needs to be addressed.
Coach, forgive me, I know you can't elaborate too much, but what more can you tell us about the nature of the decision that you made? Was it contacting a player too early, just to clarify?
Yeah, it was improper contact before a player was in the portal. Yep, I can say that. Yep.
Okay, Kirk, Hawkeye Report. Kirk, what you're going to be down, Jon, Phil's banged up. How's your staff approaching next week?
Yeah, unfortunately, I thought I had a plan. The plan was not to make light of this, but the plan was to, notify the staff this morning. We had an early meeting scheduled and then visit with the team during practice or after practice. Or actually, it was in the team meeting this morning before practice. And everybody's responded really well. And the bottom line is, We've got a really strong program. Got a great coaching staff, excellent team, leadership there. So, and it's like I told the players, players win games, not coaches, so we have a job to do. Staff will do a great job. It'll be seamless next Saturday with me not being there. And I've got total confidence in our team. They're going to respond and do a great job.
Yeah, Pat Hardy with Hawk Fanatic and KCJJ Radio. This is for Beth. I know you probably can't answer this, but did the NCAA share with you how they found out? And were you guys not aware of this at all during the 2023 season, since it appears that this violation took place about 20 months ago?
I'm not sure there's anything I can share on that in terms of the timing of it, but what I will say, and this is the normal course of how we operate, we have I think, a really robust compliance program, and if we would have been aware, we would have self-reported that to the NCAA.
John.
For Beth, along those lines, John Steffi, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Along those lines, you also self-reported the violation involving Tyler Barnes with the impermissible contact. What's kind of your overall philosophy on self-reporting, and why do you think that this didn't come to light earlier?
I think there's a lot of moving pieces. Every year, and I know you all see these reports, part of our self-governance process, part of the NCAA process, is that we continue to provide education across all gamut of rules, and that we self-enforce. It is, as you all already know, a really complex rule book, and so there are many times in which, for a variety of reasons, we may miss on that. And when we identify them, oftentimes that's coming directly from a coach who realizes that they're making a mistake. But in the best of times, when there's clarity, and I think we'd all agree there's not as much clarity in college athletics today as perhaps there has been in the past. But those rules are really difficult to follow. But I think generally the thing we continue to take to heart, I know Coach does as well, and the rest of our team and our staff, is that we are going to do our best to comply with all NCAA rules, all other policies we have at the university. And when we become aware that we've missed on one of those marks, we're going to learn from it, take responsibility, and move forward.
Elliot Clough, Hawkeye Beacon. This is for Kirk. And for just clarity purposes, Kirk, was this maybe a misunderstanding of a rule, or just happens to be a mistake, like you've mentioned?
Yeah, I just again would phrase it. I think there's some unique circumstances surrounding this, but as we stand here today, it's a violation. So it is what it is, and we need to deal with it appropriately. We do live in a competitive environment. It's changing, but that still doesn't, it's not an excuse. There are no excuses for crossing the line.
Tyler Tashman with the Des Moines Register for Kirk. At this point, can you name a starting quarterback for this season opener and just offer some insight to where that position's at?
Yeah, we'll get to that point at some point, but I can just say, I think I can, and optimistic about the way the guys are performing right now. So we'll get to that in a second, though. Yeah.
Michael Loss, Cedar Rapids Gazette. I forgot that last time. If I understand the timeline right, it was over a year after the alleged infraction when there was this process began. Do you have any speculation, or do you know why it began, when it began, and from where it came?
Yeah, I would be speculating. All I know is, when the NCAA reached out to us regarding this, we've been cooperating fully with them since that time, and that's how we got here today at this point. And again, just for clarity, this is self-imposed on our part, not something that they've ruled on yet.
Scott Docterman with The Athletic. I wanted to ask about the student athlete in question here. Is the athlete eligible? Was he granted immunity by the NCAA in order to come clean, or what's the situation involving the athlete?
I can answer knowing that he is eligible. I have no knowledge of him not being eligible at any point this season. So that's that. And really, I think the bigger issue, it's about who made the decision for the illegal contact, and that would be me. Yep.
Coach Keith Murphy, WHO. How difficult is the thought of you missing your first game?
Yeah, I've never been there before, so it's going to be something different and unique. I know some coaches missed during COVID. But yeah, this will be a first-time experience. I've been away from the team during game week. That was unusual. But I guess if there's a lesson learned, going back 20-some years ago, our team just did a great job. Staff did a great job. Players did a great job. So, it's hard to be away. The games are important. I just talked to our guys about, you got 12 opportunities guaranteed, period. And we spent a lot of time working to have those 12 opportunities. So this is a very significant thing. It's not about me, but every game is significant. So it's going to be strange. It's going to be uncomfortable. But I have total confidence again in the people that I work with every day.
Well, yeah, Keith was had all our questions, but I'll jump in here, Kirk. Do you have to give any thought what you're going to do on game day? Like, you going to watch with Mary?
I imagine. I haven't really spent a lot of time thinking about it.
Mow the lawn?
Yeah. Without great thought, I'll probably be at home watching very quietly, and we'll see what that looks like. Yep.
This question is for Beth. Scott Rice for KCCI. So the NCAA, can you explain the process from here on out? Could they increase the suspension or anything like that?
I really can't comment on the specifics, other than we're going to continue to be collaborative and cooperative with that process. We have been to that point. We obviously communicated with them about the action steps we were taking today and for this first game. And so we're just anxious to continue to work with them through conclusion and trust that we'll end in a good spot.
Can you go over the timeline again as far as like month and year that the violation happened, and then also when it was brought to your attention? The improper contact outside of the transfer portal window, or the prospect being in the transfer portal, occurred in late 2022. And I don't know if I can speak specifically to when we would have been notified, but obviously been working with them, for a period of months here.
Okay, that'll wrap up this portion of the press conference. Coach will come up and talk a little bit about wrapping up fall camp, and we'll take questions about practice and the team moving forward.
Come back to that. I'll start with Towers' question, obviously. As we stand here right now, Cade took snaps with the ones. We've been letting both guys get some work with the ones, and the good news, I think, is, and I'm happy to report this, there's been ebb and flow throughout the entire camp. This is our fourth week. Probably predictable, although, I wasn't sure what to expect totally, but I think I've commented about, Cade's lack of playing time behind a full offense, playing with 11 guys on the field. And then you think about Brendan coming in here, starting new in June, so a lot to learn. And I guess so there's been some back and forth, some ups and downs, those types of things. But both guys this week have just looked more comfortable, and they've done a lot of good things. And today's Thursday. Cade's done a really nice job. I think he's had a really good week, and I think Brendan's done the same thing. So coincidentally, ironically, however you want to look at it, I was looking at peeked at some tape from a year ago, summer, don't ask me why, last week, and it was right after Cade injured his quad in the preseason workout out there. And it was a pretty limited room at that point. So, the big takeaway is we're much healthier at that position in terms of game experience, depth, those types of things. And Marco's doing a good job, too. So just like what I see with the quarterback room, how it's shaping up right now. And if we were playing tomorrow, Cade would be 1, Brian would be 2, Marco would be 3.
Start with Adam.
Adam Jacoby, Hawkeye Beacon. Kirk, has Le'Shawn Williams returned to practice, and how's the depth chart shaping up at running back at this point?
Yeah, he has, which is good to see. And a lot of guys are starting to, trickle back in the last 4 or 5 days. So, a lot of the camp-type injuries are seeming to clear up right now, and nothing significant new-wise. Le'Shawn's had a couple good days. He's limited in terms of the volume. He's missed a lot of time, but he made a really nice blitz pickup coincidentally this morning, which allowed us to have a good completion on a play. And, so he's been paying attention. He's been doing a good job. Hopefully he'll be good to go. And right now, Kamari's the only guy out. He's got hopefully a minor injury with his lower leg, but I think you can expect him to be ready to go here on Monday, hopefully. So basically the whole room's doing well.
Kirk, I know there's been some question marks around the wide receiver group. Some positive things have been said about Jacob Gill in particular, but around the rest of the group, anybody standing out that maybe giving you some confidence going into week one?
Yeah, so a couple points there, one specific, one broad. You mentioned Jacob. He's been really just a great addition. And, you know, the portal's an interesting place. We don't live there, you know, full speed. But, you know, we thought he would be a guy that maybe could help our football team, and he's just been a great addition. Really focused, really mature. Just, you know, he's got a veteran presence and really workmanlike the way he goes about what he does, how he practices, how he prepares, everything about him in this building. Really exemplary, and not a loud demeanor, but just shows up every day and really performs. So he's been a really good influence on a very young group. And if you look at us, you know, we don't have a lot of veteran presence in that room. And then second add-on there, we've had a couple guys out, Seth and Dayton, young guy, a little bit older, who've, you know, getting back into the swing of things, so hopefully that'll help us. But I'm really optimistic about the group. I don't know what's going to look like here the first couple of weeks, but literally, like, who's going to be playing or how much, that type of stuff. But I think the potential right now for growth in that room and the potential for that becoming a really, you know, productive unit, I think it's there for us. And that's encouraging because, you know, things happen at different stages. We're a little bit more veteran in this spot or that spot, and then that's a room where I think right now by October, we could be seeing some really good things, hopefully sooner than that. But, you know, I think there's a lot of, you know, maybe a room for optimism there and, you know, some potential that might become fulfilled.
Kirk, Tom Kakert, Hawkeye Report. Wanted to ask you about the offensive line and the defensive line. When we talked to you in Indianapolis, you said you wanted to see more depth developed during camp. Have you seen that, and who are some of the players maybe that you've seen that are going to kind of firm up that those groups?
Yeah, for the most part, we have. So you've got your 5 starters on the offensive line. Then you got both Ellsbury and DeYoung, Nick DeYoung and Tower, both have done a good job, and they're older guys. But pleased with the guys that in the spring you saw as 2s that, you know, looked like 3s more than 2s. And, you know, right now I think they've really kind of moved forward, so it's been good to see them progress. On the defensive side, probably the people you would imagine, I think Max Llewellyn and Brian Allen are probably heading that, and Jeremiah Pittman are probably the 3 that are not starters right now. They're the most ahead, and then we're working like crazy to keep developing guys along the way, and got a lot of guys competing that way, doing a good job.
Mitch Vick, KJN, a lot of talk about the quarterback room. What has Keller Chris meant to that room, a guy who's not too far removed from his playing days, a 2-time captain?
Yeah, Keller's been a really nice addition. Really great to have him on our staff, and he's got a great background, certainly, and he and Tim have, you know, spent a lot of time together right now. But yeah, Keller's been a good presence there. He's played the position too, and I think has a good feel for it. Communicates really well with the guys. I think he's really respected, and yeah, so he's been a really good addition to our program.
Kirk, Scott again. Sometimes guys with ACLs kind of have an unconscious fear of whether it's stepping and throwing when they're passing the ball, and Cade seemed to be that way, at least from my viewpoint. He just wasn't quite doing his fundamentals that he should the other day. Has he improved in that area? And then how has he caught up as far as accuracy goes? Because that was kind of a rough day for him.
Yeah, no question. And I think I can think of like 3 specific plays, one on the public scrimmage, but that's probably the best thing that happened that day was he stepped around and actually pulled it down, looked confident. But he's had a couple other moments, you know, since that time that are kind of give you reassurance. And I think he's through all that, not thinking about it. Cohen, on the other hand, is like the other end of the spectrum. Like he looks like he's fully healthy out there, and he is. But I mean, it's just funny. Everybody's got a little different approach. But typically, most players go through that. They experience that, and you just kind of have to be patient there. And that was one more thing I think that was making maybe his the flow of his play a little bit tough. The missed team time. You're dealing with an injury, all those kinds of things. But this week he's looked really comfortable and confident, which is great to see.
Kirk, I know you normally don't like doing this, but would you consider using both Cade and Brendan going into a game?
I mean, yeah, we'll consider anything. The game plan probably look a little different for either guy, but and you're right, the first statement was correct. We probably rather not do that. It all worked okay in 81. But anyway, so you just Yeah, our preference is to have a 1-2-3. We'll see how that shakes out. But, we're going to keep an open mind all season long about our entire football team. We're trying to put the guys out there that give us the best chance. But what I'm encouraged about is just I think we're seeing players look more comfortable, and that's a good thing. That's how it's supposed to go as you go through camp.
Jon Budmayr, Cedar Rapids Gazette. Looking at cornerback opposite of Jamari, if you were playing tomorrow, would TJ be the starter? Kind of where do things stand? Phil said earlier.
Yeah, Phil's being pretty cryptic. I did see that on Thursday, right? Or Tuesday, I guess. Okay, 2 days ago. So, yeah, I mean, that could be a jump ball. I mean, we've got a lot of positions right now that are kind of interesting. Good competition. That's healthy. That's good. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. My guess is, in all these cases, I think we're going to see a lot of players play. And I think we'll learn a lot about our football team we have the last 3+ weeks. We'll learn a lot more about them in this next month. And, get the game competition. And, we hit the ground running. So, I mean, we've got to be ready to roll. But it's... the ultimate test is how's a guy react in front of fans and, playing against good competition, and that starts at about 8 days here.
We'll finish up with 2 more questions, Chad and then Elliot.
Okay, Chad Leistico again. You've got to see the full fall camp of Tim Lester's Shanahan-style offense. Obviously a very complicated deal, but where did you see maybe the best signs of improvement or progress, I guess, in this absorption of the offense, and maybe where do you have the longest way to go?
Again, I'm not trying to oversimplify or undersimplify, but it just, if we block well and our quarterbacks play well, we'll have a chance to move the ball and score points, no matter how we do it. But to your point, I think it's really valid. Nomenclature, and again, this is Brendan's challenge walking in here 2 months ago, trying to figure out all the verbiage, the motions, the movements, all that, and the quarterback's got a lot of responsibility there. It's a lot. There's just a lot going on. And every day's been really important for us, and I think that's one thing I'm encouraged about. Normally I'm not very optimistic. I guess I am, but I mean, not in front of you guys, but I stand here right now, I actually think things are starting to we're starting to click a little bit. We've pushed past the, we're in camp mode and seeing some cleaner execution. And, defensively, we got a lot of veteran presence there. Offensively, this is all new, and I think the guys are really, it's starting to click a little bit for them. And, we're going to have some ups and downs when we start playing competitively, but I think we're making progress, and the guys have been, nothing but willing and anxious to learn. Most importantly, they're demonstrating that it's starting to resonate a little bit with them.
Hey, Kirk, Elliot Clough, Hawkeye Beacon. Talking about the quarterbacks, Cade and Brendan, and if you were to play tomorrow, Cade would start. What has Cade done to maybe separate himself as your starter?
Well, I mean, he's had an unfair advantage over Brendan in this category. I mean, he's established himself as a respected leader on the team. He's been here a couple of years now, and, that starts there. And we've got a big group of those guys, and he's certainly in that. And he's doing a good job on the field, and both of them are. I mean, I just want to be fair. And but in my way of looking at it, he's a game experienced player in this conference. He's played in tough venues and done well, been very, very successful. But I think it's been a long haul back, and basically he hasn't been healthy for 2 years. So it's just good to see him. The last couple of days he looked more relaxed. He wasn't pressing, trying to force things like that. And I'm no expert on quarterback play, but I know you can't do that stuff. And it's the first time I've seen him, stand there on the field with him where he looked like he was more comfortable and just, maybe a little bit more, feeling better about his whole world, if you will. And it's easy to talk about it, but that's a hard position to play. That's one thing I do know. I'm a dumb line coach, but it's just the hardest position out there. Every snap, people's fates are, he's touching the ball every snap. So it's got a lot going on, and both guys are really doing a good job, as is Marco. Marco is totally invested, really doing a good job as well.
Okay. Thanks, Coach.
Okay.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thanks, Kirk.
Thank you, guys.
Don't forget to submit your player list for next week, and weekend. We'll see you next Tuesday.